And I've got to say, when we see patients taking Fortify Focus, I am seeing patients that have reduced subjective symptomology for many conditions, but mostly associated with the computers. I mean, let's face it, we're all living in a digital world these days, and we're all having an accommodative stress factor that's much higher than it was when I grew up. What I'm seeing in clinical practice, when patients take Fortify Focus, not only do they seem to have less dry eye symptomology, but they definitely have less eye fatigue. Neck hurts, vision fluctuates, eyes feel sandy, gritty, burn, tear, itch. A lot of these symptoms decrease dramatically and some resolve completely. Hey, I'm Dr. Michael Lange. We want to age as gracefully as possible, don't we? So is there enough evidence out there that proves that certain specific nutrients, ingredients, or supplements can enhance our skin, our joints, our hair, our nails? And there's a lot of great science that's come out recently with marine collagen tripeptides, rice ceramides, hyaluronic acid, and there's a new supplement called Dermaval. Well, we've taken all four of those and we've combined it in a supplement called Rejuvenate. 3 delicious flavors, chocolate, cherry vanilla, pink lemonade, and then we have it unflavored for those of you that want to just put it in your coffee in the morning. It's worth a try. I endorse it, obviously, 100%. If you don't like it, we'll give you money back. It's as simple as that. So check it out at Fortifeye.com. I'm Dr. Michael Lange, board-certified optometric physician, certified nutritional specialist, and the founder of the Lange Eye Institute and Fortifeye Vitamins. I, along with the Fortifeye Performance team, developed something called Fortifeye Fit Pro. It can improve muscle synthesis.
Comes to your health. Are you seeing the check engine light come on more than normal? It's time to get under the hood. It's time for Ask the Doctor with Dr. Michael Lange. Sponsored by Lange Eye Institute and Fortifeye Vitamins. Dr. Lange is a board-certified optometric physician and certified nutrition specialist, helping people see and feel better through proper nutrition for 25 years. The doctor is in. Call now with your questions at 877-969-8600. That's 877-969-8600. Here's your host, Dr. Michael Lange.
Okay, good morning and welcome to Ask the Doctor. I'm your host for over 30 years, actually 33 years. Started hosting Ask the Doctor April of 1993. I tell you what, folks, time flies when you're having fun. It's officially now the longest running syndicated medical live talk show in the country, Ask the Doctor. So remember, this is a live call-in show dedicated to you, the listener, the consumer, the viewer. So no matter how simple or complicated your questions are, we will try to answer it to the best of your ability. And my co-host is Dr. Susan Summerton this morning. We do want to wish everybody a very happy year. Welcome to 2026. Our toll-free number is back, folks. So all of you that still have land-based lines in California, New Mexico, Arizona that want to call, but you want it to be free, now you can call the toll-free number. It's back for the new year. I'm going to give it to you twice. Write it down. 877-969-8600. That's 877-969-8600. And I want to welcome Dr. Susan Summerton and personally tell her happy 2026.
Well, good morning, Dr. Lange, and happy 2026 to you too, and all our listeners out there. We know this new year brings in some new goals for most of us out there, and we're always focused on our eye health and our nutrition, our lifestyle, prevention, just helping make a great, healthy new year.
Absolutely. And we're going to discuss that. You know, last week we discussed a little bit of New Year's resolutions. We're going to kind of expand on what we discussed last week. And we're going to go over some really exciting new news that we've got that can help you see better and see longer. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. I first want to mention, you know, every new year we always offer something really great to all of our listeners, a BOGO. So those BOGO fanatics out there, we're doing a BOGO on our famous Fortifeye Vegan Super Protein. It's become a big hit. We've got it in chocolate, we got it in vanilla, and we got it in salted caramel mocha. So we're doing a BOGO on that right now, and I don't know how long we're going to run it. We usually run these BOGOs for about 2 weeks, but we started it yesterday. I announced it on the internet, and some people are buying, 8 bottles of the protein. That means they're getting 16 bottles of the protein. So it's going to go fast. We might only run this for 1 week. Who knows? Maybe only 3-4 days, just depending on inventory. So the BOGO wording that you have to put in the coupon code at checkout at fortifeye.com is vegan BOGO. So VEGANBOGO. Pretty simple. Vegan BOGO. So it's our Fortifeye Super Vegan Protein. Vegan BOGO is the wording. Put it in at checkout, and you will get, buy one, you get one free. So it's pretty simple. If for some reason you don't put that vegan BOGO in, I'll tell the staff to still send you an extra protein. So I want to talk briefly about the vegan protein. So we worked on this vegan protein for years and years and years. And I wanted, number one, to make sure everything came from really good countries. I mean, clean countries that supply the best protein. So basically, I wanted to come from North America. So America, United States, and Canada. And so we've got sprouted non-GMO pea protein from Canada. We've got sprouted organic non-GMO barley protein from the United States. And then we mixed it up in a special way so it's not chalky and it's not grainy. And the amino acid profile is a complete amino acid profile with a PDCAAS score of 1. It's got upcycled barley, so it's very green. And I wasn't satisfied with the complete amino acid score because the branched chain amino acids were still lower than whey protein. So we added something called velocitol, and that's vegan. It's amylopectin and chromium. It kind of doubles the amino acid power and gives you some good energy, and it's not a stimulant. So we have in the vegan super protein, and Dr. Summerton on this with me as well, and the staff at the Lange Institute and Fortifeye Vitamins, because it took a long time to get the texture and the taste down, didn't it?
It did. And if you have tried vegan proteins in the past, I've tried some and it kind of steered me away from them. But this is a great tasting protein. And it's just a great way to add more protein into your diet. We always talk about making sure you get enough protein. And I know myself, my favorite time to have it is when I first wake up in the morning. I'm not real hungry and I like to work out in the morning. So the salted caramel mocha is my go-to. It's a great morning beverage. And I have that coffee. It's got kind of a little coffee chocolate flavor to it. And it's easy, it's quick. I just mix mine with water, but you can get creative, especially with the vanilla flavor by adding berries or your favorite fruit to it off to a morning start. And it's also good after you work out. We want that muscle preservation and that recovery time. And that's when you utilize all that protein. And it's also helpful if you're kind of that late afternoon kind of snacker and you want to avoid that, making that goal of a new year. It's good. You can just have a little shake then, and that will help support that kind of cortisol balance to stop those cravings to help you reach your New Year's goals.
Absolutely. And all of us have New Year's resolutions. And the number one New Year's resolution is we should all be eating healthier. As a matter of fact, that's what I had for breakfast this morning at 6 a.m. I did a little bit of recumbent biking in my gym. And then I had the salted caramel mocha because it does have the equivalent of a half a cup of coffee of caffeine. So not too much caffeine. And I had the unflavored Rejuvenate. And I had the new Pure creatine HMB vitamin D. So a scoop, a scoop, a scoop, 3 all in. And I did cold coconut milk. I just wanted something different, a little creamier instead of just water. And I shook it all up, and that was my breakfast this morning. I'm good to go. So I'm going to give the toll-free number again. A lot of you are probably calling the old number, and it does not work. So you got to write this number down. It's going to take a while for it to get in everybody's head, but it's 1-877-969-8600. So those of you in California, New Mexico, Arizona. You can call. It's free. 1-877-969-8600. Dr. Summerton, I bet Steve might not be calling today, because he's probably got the old number. And I wonder if he really listens or he just calls in.
Well, hopefully people are paying attention to that number because we'd love to answer your calls and we're happy to help and bring on your questions, those nutrition questions, the eye questions. We're here to listen and we're here to help.
Right. And, we talk a lot about sleep on this program because we try to cover all our bases on everything. We don't just talk about the eyes, what you can do to slow down aging in the eyes, what you can do if you have macular degeneration, glaucoma, or dry eye from a natural standpoint. But we do talk a lot about sleep. And most of you that know me, I'm fairly sleep deprived. I just don't sleep much. I'm kind of wired all day long and I'm always up to something, doing something, and I just don't get enough sleep. And when I'm laying in bed, I'm always thinking of something else. But this last week, I actually drove down to South Beach. We stayed at the Fontainebleau Hotel. So I'm wearing a Fontainebleau, I'm sporting blue sweatshirt right now. So we had a good time. Tammy, myself, and Mackenzie went and we hung out. I didn't do business, 5 days of relaxation in the sun. The new year was amazing. We had great food. I didn't cheat. I didn't have dessert at dinner, and I had really good food. I had a lot of grilled chicken and wild salmon. So, and I actually got some sleep, and sleep is so crucial. Remember, if you don't sleep, inflammation, cortisol goes up, inflammation goes up, belly fat goes up. Think about all you guys out there and gals, guys have that stubborn belly fat and girls get it in their upper, thigh area, the buttocks. And, if you're sleep deprived, you're much more prone to having these areas of fatty tissue. And it's been proven if you sleep more, you lose more weight. And so I think most science, and Dr. Summit is going to chime in a second, and most science says between 6 and 9 hours of sleep is ideal. If I get 6 hours, it's like a miracle. I'm a new man. So the question is too much sleep a problem? And I never would have thought this, but now there's evidence. And I'm going to let Dr. Summerton chime in on this. If you get too much sleep, it could be bad for your visual system. Isn't it kind of crazy, Dr. Summerton?
It is. This was a surprising study that we were going over and reading, and it looked at sleep and actually eye health, and it defined short amount of sleep as less than 7 hours, normal 7 to 9 hours, and long greater than 9 hours. And this was the little trigger there. The long greater than 9 hours, you were more at risk for vision impairment, ocular disease, for especially glaucoma. And that's something we're always aware of. What else can we do to help our patients' health, in particular their eye health? And now we have to talk about sleep and ask how much sleep they're getting. Now, there is something to think about. It was more at risk for people who had high blood pressure and greater than 9 hours sleep. They were particularly associated with a lot more glaucoma risk. And fortunately, this study showed that less sleep didn't really affect it. So it is something we have to look at how much sleep you're getting, but then also look at, is there another problem why you're sleeping more than 9 hours? Maybe there's also a lot more inflammation going on in the body where they're actually maybe in bed or maybe not quality sleeping during that 9 hours. Is there some other inflammation disease going on? Are you not getting the proper circadian rhythm? Because we know getting that morning light and no blue light before you go to sleep, that affects it too. So again, it just brings up sleep quality and sleep length, whether too little or in this case, too much can indicate a problem.
Yeah, and who knows? Also, there's a lot of things that could be causing it to sleep too long. And one recently during New Year's is probably drinking too much booze. Think about it. Then you pass out. Now, that doesn't happen to me, not for 30 years. But if you drink too much, sometimes you're going to sleep way longer than 9 hours. Interesting. Talking about New Year's, and we're going to talk about football briefly. I don't talk about football ever. Now, do I? So I got to tell you, that Sugar Bowl game was worth talking about. It was a crazy game. I mean, it was in New Orleans, so all my friends were obviously there or watching it, and Ole Miss pulled it off. What a game. I mean, that was an exciting game. Beat Georgia. Ole Miss is probably going to play Indiana in the playoffs. That's what I think. I think they're going to beat Miami. But and then the Rose Bowl, I mean, that was kind of boring, wasn't it? Indiana versus Alabama. I mean, Alabama didn't even score a touchdown. So that's my football for the year. All right, we're getting ready to take a phone call. If you got a question, give us a call, 877-969-8600. That's 877-969-8600. So Dr. Summerton and I hail from the Lange Institute in the Villages, Florida, and of course, Fortifeye Vitamins. If you'd like to set up an appointment to see any of the doctors at the Lange Institute in the Villages, I'm going to give you the number twice. It's 352-753-4014. That's 352-753-4014. We've got 3 doctors there full time, so we can work you in. If you have an eye, we will always work you in. I do recommend that for the Optomap, it is a $39 fee, but the Optomap is one of the best pieces of technology going for the new year from a preventative standpoint. Remember, an eye exam is not only important at detecting eye diseases, but also many systemic health problems and diseases in the body can be detected in an eye exam. So you need to be dilated, number one, but an Optomap is something I highly recommend to everybody. It allows the eye doctor to look into your eye without blasting you with a bright light, and it can see way out in the peripheral retina. I don't care how good you are with your indirect ophthalmoscope, you're going to miss things. Doctors are not perfect. If you have the Optomap, it's very difficult to miss small holes and tears and vein occlusions and artery occlusions and choroidal nevi that could potentially be melanoma. But also, there's 3 telltale signs in the eye for dementia, and that's cortical cataracts, that's nerve fiber layer changes, and drusen. And this can pick up 2 of those signs, and then the slit lamp can pick up the cortical cataracts. And then there's something called lipofuscin that we pick up also with the Optomap, which is a metabolic waste product that is affiliated with macular degeneration and dementia as well. So the key is early detection. If we find some of these things in your eye in the early stages, we can adjust your diet, we can adjust your supplements, and sometimes help dramatically. I mean, I think there's some studies, Dr. Summerton, about drusen. We find drusen early with proper nutrition, one being curcumin. We can actually help sometimes if we detect it early enough. And actually, I've seen many cases where these retinas actually improve with proper diet and proper nutritional supplements.
Right, and I remember drusen, if people don't know, if they haven't heard of it, those are like little yellow-white deposits that we see in the eye when we do these vision scans of the retina. And it's kind of deposits of protein, fat, kind of cellular debris that they form under the retina or by the optic nerve. That's that transmits the vision to the brain. And we can easily see it with that dilated exam and the Optomap. But it really is a sign of inflammation. And there's different kinds. There's hard drusen and there's soft drusen. Those soft drusen carry a little bit higher risk. So if we are seeing these in the beginning, we do want to target lifestyle changes to lower inflammation of your whole body, not just in your eye, because it is a symptom of the whole body. And that what you mentioned, the curcumin, the active ingredient in turmeric, that has been shown to actually shrink those. And so it's not going to work overnight. It takes some time. It takes some time for you to get these drusen. It takes some time to have a positive effect. But it is like an early marker that we can set some goals to make sure we see improvement and don't see degeneration down the road.
Yep. And of course, we're a little bit biased. There's a supplement we developed at Fortifeye Vitamins called Next Gen Curcumin, fueled by curcumin. And curcumin is one of the most bioavailable curcumins on the market. It does not use black pepper. There's some studies out there saying if you use black pepper in your turmeric and curcumin, it's not the best thing in the world for the liver. It does make the curcumin absorb, but long term, it can cause some potential liver problems. So Curcumin is the only oleoresin food grade curcumin on the market. And that's what Fortifeye has. It's called Next Gen Curcumin. It's been a big hit because it's all natural. It uses all parts of the turmeric root to make it absorb a lot better. And it absorbs, like, I don't know, anywhere from 40 to 60% better than most other curcumins, or in that neighborhood. So check it out at fortifeye.com. Fortifeye.com. Check out Next Gen Curcumin. And also, if you got some pain in your knees or your back or in your body, some inflammation, curcumin acts as a really good natural anti-inflammatory. So think about that. The toll-free number for Fortifeye Vitamins is 866-503-9746. Once again, it's 866-503-9746. All right, we're getting loaded up on the phones. We got Anthony first and then Steve second. Let's go to the phones. Anthony, thanks for holding. Welcome to the program.
Yes, hello, Dr. Lange. I was interested in how to control or prevent eye blood clots.
Okay, that's a great question. And so first off, I think number one, and this is one of the biggest things for everybody out there listening to this program for your New Year's resolutions, if you can pinch an inch or more than an inch, you got to practice good weight management. So if you're super skinny, then that's not a big deal. So weight management is probably number one. Number two, getting out there and moving. And we talked about this last week. As little as about 2,500 steps a day is beneficial. Up to close to 9,000 steps is ideal. So we're going to weight management through proper diet, all right? Exercise. Doesn't have to be a lot of exercise. You can do 10 minutes of resistance training a day and about 10 minutes of walking a day, and that's going to be beneficial. There's a few supplements that I recommend. Omega-3 I recommend to everybody, okay? A good omega-3 like Fortifeye Super Omega, Fortifeye Super Omega-3 Max, things of this nature are going to be beneficial. Also, eating some foods that have dietary nitrates, things like beets, okay? A supplement called L-citrulline is very good. And this causes vasodilation in the arterioles and helps the blood flow more freely. And there's a lot of other supplements that are recommended. But then most importantly is seeing your primary care physician, having blood work done to check your triglycerides, your C-reactive protein, your cholesterol, your homocysteine levels. And then we got to try to get those down to a normal level. So it's a combination of all these things that are going to help. And if you're not on a baby aspirin a day or a blood thinner, then obviously you talk with your physician regarding this. We talked about clots in people that are flying for a long period of time. If you're stagnant and stationary, not moving around, you're more likely to get a clot. So if you're sitting at that computer and your legs are bent and you're at that computer for 8, 10, 12 hours a day, you need to get up and stretch and walk around the office, every hour for just about a minute or so. And it's a culmination of all these that are going to be beneficial, but I'm sure I've left out a lot of things. I'm going to let Dr. Summerton chime in and add to this.
Yes, the most important, like you said, the diet and exercise, but also smoking. That's a big thing. And there's more than likely the association with the e-cigarettes, the vaping. Since they're fairly new, we don't have a lot of studies on that. But there has been published cases of having what we call a retina vein occlusion, that clot in those blood vessels of the eye related to vaping in young people. And that's taking into account that we manage the blood pressure, manage the diabetes, manage the cholesterol. The smoking and vaping does increase that chance. So that's something else we want to make sure we touch on, because that can also cause those clots. And just like we mentioned before, getting that regular eye exam, looking at the retina blood vessels inside your eye so that we can actually see that vascular health, those blood vessels in the eye, look at them directly.
And it's amazing. If you have a good primary care physician and a good eye doctor, that combination of both of those doctors can help keep you above ground, a lot longer, and then make appropriate referrals as necessary.
How much aspirin did you say?
Well, I mean, typically a baby aspirin, if it's cleared by your physician, all right, a baby aspirin, and I've even seen some research where even lower dosages of that, even a half a baby aspirin combined with omega-3, I've seen some studies where the combination of those actually increase the resolvins and protectins of the omega-3, helping reduce inflammation and improve blood flow. But once again, it's a good idea to talk with your physician before starting any baby aspirin.
Now, you say take this aspirin before you go to bed or when you get up in the morning?
Yeah, I think before you go to bed's best because that's when you're laying, supine and you're not moving around a lot. And that's a good time to take the omega-3 is at bedtime. But once again, I don't know your history, so you got to make sure you clear it with your doctor.
Okay, I'm taking blood pressure medication. I've been told that nighttime is the best time to take that. Is that correct?
Well, it probably is. You want your blood pressure to stay low at bedtime as well. But if that's what your physician said, then I would follow their directions. But I do think omega-3 at bedtime is a great idea. Okay.
Any particular foods?
Well, I wouldn't eat a lot at bedtime. All right. I wouldn't eat a whole lot at bedtime. I usually say, don't eat after 5 or 6 o'clock at night. Because if you eat, closer to bed, you're going to have a lot of food in your belly. And remember, you're not up exercising. So it's just being stagnant. If you don't eat a lot, I usually recommend having more closer to a carnivore diet at supper. All right. Your last meal of the day, something like carnivore, where you just have either ketogenic or carnivore, Lange survival diet, where you mainly have protein. Because what happens to most of us, Anthony, is we have a big plate of spaghetti and meatballs, right? And then we have a cheesecake or something like that. And we have a lot of carbs in our gut and a lot of sugar. And so your body is burning all the sugar and carbs. And if you only have protein when you go to bed, then most of the carbs have been burned from lunch. And so you're a fat burning machine when you're sleeping, okay? In order for you to have energy and glucose, you're burning fat. And so you're losing weight while you're sleeping. And then you wake up first thing in the morning and go on a walk or a bicycle ride or treadmill for 30 to 45 minutes or up to an hour. You're burning, pure fat. You're a fat burning machine. And this is for people that need to lose weight. Remember, the number one thing I said for our health is to get down to our ideal body weight. So our last meal of the day, unless you're a diabetic and you're being treated for diabetes, you got to be careful. You don't want to have no carbs and then take your insulin bolus because you could die in your sleep because your blood sugar dropped to 1. So you got to be very careful. As long as you're not a diabetic being treated, I think your last meal of the day being protein only is a good idea.
It's coffee, black tea, and soda. Should that be curbed?
Yeah, you should. Soda, you shouldn't drink any soda. Just throw that away. Don't drink it. Coffee and tea is fine, but in the morning or before 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Don't have it after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And you'll be golden.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right,
Bye-bye.
Anthony. Happy New Year, my friend. All right. Steve's been waiting patiently. Let's go to Steve in Clearwater. Good morning, Steve, and Happy New Year, my friend.
Yes, wanted to follow up with Anthony's statement. He was talking about our clots in the eyes.
I don't know if it was the eyes or in general, but let's talk about it.
Okay. Well, did you say last week that you can tell if someone has high blood pressure by the ratio of the diameter of the I don't know what I'm talking about here. The retinal vein versus the retinal artery or something?
Yes, the artery and vein ratio. We look for crossing defects. We look for size and caliber differences. We can also look at the optic nerve for swelling. So there's a lot of telltale signs in the eye, especially when we look at that optomap. It's so beneficial. Or our OCT angiography. Those technologies are amazing, and we see that in clinic on a daily basis. Oftentimes, we detect high blood pressure before the patient even aware of it. We get the blood pressure cuff off, and voila, they're 210 over 110, and no wonder they've had headaches.
Well, what signs does those retina show? If someone had high blood pressure, what would be the change in the ratio, up or down?
The vein is going to be significantly larger than the artery. And then you can get something called copper wiring also, and that can determine if there's a lot of plaque building up. So you know how we talk about the widowmaker, and that's a way, that's a good idea to look at the eyes because we can determine if there's a lot of plaque building up in these tiny little capillaries. And oftentimes we can make a referral that can be life-saving. Remember, the eye
Well,
is the window to the body.
Well, what do you do if someone? What's more common, to have a clot in the artery or the vein going into the eye?
Well, I'll expand on that, and then Dr. Summerton will chime in.
Oh.
I mean, it all depends, okay? Because we have different types. We have vein occlusions. We have artery occlusions. All right. We have non-arteritic ischemic optic neuropathy. We have arteritic ischemic optic neuropathy. So it's a variety of things that can cause it. Dr. Summerton, you want to expand a little bit on Steve's question there?
Yeah, I think in clinic, we definitely see more vein occlusions happen often than we do see artery occlusions. But I was also thinking of his question of complementary things to do. And Steve may have mentioned this before in another call, that nattokinase, that soy supplement, there has been some studies in the eye to help prevent what we call neovascularization. That's the growth of new blood vessels that can happen due to lack of oxygen. And there is some clinical studies that show that nattokinase supplement does help that, in that it's helping that, but studies need to be done. There probably is just some reasonable way to think that having nattokinase in your diet could help prevent the clots too, because it does break down that fibrin that can be responsible for those clots, and does have some lowering inflammation effects and protecting the brain effects. That's obviously what that we want to do, but again, it's something that's complementary and something that you have to talk to your doctor about.
And Dr. Summerton, I think that's another reason, maybe I've read that a lot of the Japanese don't suffer from a lot of the heart attacks and strokes because of the nattokinase that might be in the fermented soy that they're consuming.
Right, that's definitely they do a lot more of it than we do, and it's that healthier soy, not the processed,
Right.
overly processed soy that we generally have available. It's the quality that matters.
All right, Steve.
Okay, well, how do you treat the artery occlusions and the vein occlusions? How do you treat them?
Well,
if someone comes in, they've got an ongoing occlusion, what do you do?
Well, an artery occlusion, you got to get to them probably to the emergency room really quickly to use a clot buster, all right? Quickly. Otherwise,
Right.
A central retinal artery occlusion, if you don't treat it within, I don't know what it is, 2 to 3 hours, you go blind and it's permanent loss of vision. Sometimes as a certain select group of people have a ciliary-retinal artery that does feed part of the retina that doesn't get blocked. And so they have a little bit of vision sparing. But artery occlusions, like Dr. Summerton said, are a little bit rare. The vein occlusions are more important. And what we have to do is we got to figure out what is the underlying etiology of these occlusions. Is it high blood pressure? Is it diabetes? Is it elevated inflammation? Is it an ED drug that somebody took? Is it a GLP-1 receptor drug? Because it can be drug related as well. So there's a lot of things that can cause it, and it's up to the doctor. The doctor has to be a detective to determine what caused these things. And oftentimes, we work in conjunction with, physicians like rheumatologists to help determine, is it an autoimmune disease that's causing it? So there's a lot of variations. But once you have it, then it all depends. If there's retinal edema, macular edema, you need to see a retina specialist, and they're going to be injecting some anti-VEGF injections into your eye. So it all depends on what part of the eye is affected and how bad it is. But we've come a long way, Steve, a long way. Back in the day, which wasn't that long ago, anytime you had a bleed in the eye, we used to take a laser, and the laser destroyed the retina. I felt bad for retina specialists because patients usually left the office and they weren't too happy. But now retina specialists are saving people's vision with all the new generation drugs that are injectable. Now, it is a shot in your eye, but it doesn't hurt because you numb the eye first. So we've come a long way. And let me tell you, where we're going to be 5 years from now, we're going to be laughing at what we're talking about on this program in 5 years. We're going to be doing some things that are much less invasive, much simpler, and work a lot better.
Okay, and one more 30-second comment. On Wall Street Week the other day, on one of those financial channels, I forgot which one it was, you know how these big restaurant chains, they monitor what items on their menu are going faster and some that are not going so slow, and then they adjust the menu every so many months to a point for a higher profit margin and stuff.
Uh-huh.
they've noticed that in the last year, more people are eating high fat, high calorie, not so good food for them. And you know what they've associated it with? So many people are on these GP1 agonists that they feel, oh, well, now I can go out and eat shittier. And they literally are using their GLP-1 to eat foods that aren't as good, whereas before they had to eat the more healthy food. So where are we getting with this?
Yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, my word of advice, if you're on a GLP-1 receptor drug, eat more protein. And we always talk about that. Pound the protein. Don't eat the garbage. I mean, you're trying to lose weight to be healthier, so don't put the bad food in your body. I mean, this is a time in your life that you need to be very cognizant of your health. You need to eat healthy. And I urge everybody, go to the Fortifeye website. Go to fortifeye.com. And at the top of the Fortifeye website, there's a little section about us. Click on that, and then that'll take you directly to the Lange Wellness and Longevity Plan. This is something that we've thought about for a long time. We put it together. It tells you what foods to eat, what foods not to eat, what foods not to pair together. We give you samples of meals. We give you like a 5-day menu of foods to eat. We talk about exercise, sleep, and hydration, and we talk about supplements, which supplements to take. So you can always just Google it, Lange Wellness and Longevity Plan. And it's at the top of all of our websites. So drmichaellange.com, langeeyecare.com, or fortifeye.com. So go to that for the new year. Use that as a template for your new year activity. And remember, everybody get out there, start exercising and eating better. Hey, thanks, Steve. I appreciate the call, my friend.
Thank you very
All right.
Thank you.
Happy New Year. We're open up the phones. If you got a question, give us a call. We're still waiting for the New Mexico, California, Arizona connections. Remember, it's toll free, 1-877-969-8600. That is 877-969-8600. One more time, 877-969-8600. And then also, if you want to call Fortifeye Vitamins and talk to them about any of the supplements or order anything, you can certainly go to 866-503-9746. That's 866-503-9746. Also, the Lange Eye Institute in the Villages has been coined a dry eye center of excellence for many years. So if you do have dry eye and you're not getting anywhere with your current optometrist or ophthalmologist, come by and see Dr. Summerton or myself or Dr. Caputi at the Lange Eye Institute. Come enjoy what we have to offer at the Dry Eye Center of Excellence. Remember, we have a lot of different things, a lot of unique treats that, quite frankly, most doctors do not have. So we may be able to take your dry eye treatment to the next level. So let's talk a little bit about what we've learned over the last year or so. All right. We've learned that, a lot of you are on these crazy diets, all right? The ketogenic diet, the carnivore diet. And there's really nothing wrong with a ketogenic diet if you cycle it on and off. Because if you're on a long-term ketogenic diet and you're in ketosis all the time, it actually increases cellular aging and inflammation in vital organs. So it's important to cycle on and off, or maybe consider changing to the Lange survival diet, because you're not going to go into ketosis on this, and it is low carb. But also, studies show if you're long-term ketogenic diet, muscle atrophy, because you're not getting the carbs. You don't want to be skinny. You don't want to have cellular aging, all right? So if you have low carbs, oftentimes your body's going to go into glucogenesis. It's going to break down the protein to get the glucose. So carbs are good. And Dr. Summerton and I always preach, do you want to thrive or just survive? And it was Dr. Summerton that talked to me and showed me a study on carbohydrates. And that was this last year, about how carbohydrates are beneficial, especially for recovery. And we've known about replenishing muscle glycogen. But Dr. Summerton, think about these people that are on strict ketogenic diets and strict carnivore diets and really not getting any carbohydrates. It's probably not the best thing in the world, especially if they're athletic, is it?
Right. And it really is important to get the balance in your diet. And if you want to eat carbs, the greatest time to eat it is around exercise and movement. So, it's not the greatest time when you're going to sit on the couch and veg and watch TV. So timing does matter. And there is some studies on if you take carbs out of your diet, that actually does put a lot of stress on the thyroid. So we know many, many people out there with low thyroid function and they're struggling to lose weight, but it could be that lack of carbs is actually stressing the thyroid out a little bit more. So it's again, we got to get out there, get some movement, have the carbs in your diet, but utilize the carbohydrate with the movement.
And good carbs. I mean, like blueberries and strawberries and pomegranates and kiwis. Fruits are good carbs. White rice isn't that bad. White rice with whey protein right after working out is a great carbohydrate. But remember, white rice can have arsenic. So soak it overnight, drain it halfway through the night to pour off some of the bad stuff and get good sushi grade, organic or basmati or jasmine white rice. And don't overdo it. Maybe white rice 2 to 3 times a week. All right, we're going to Texas. Let's go to Dorothea. I think it's Dorothea or Dorotha in Grand Prairie, Texas. Good morning.
Good morning. It's Doretha.
How are you? And Happy New Year.
Thank you. Thank you. This is kind of off topic from what you're talking about today, but a couple of months ago, you talked about memory and your mother and the supplement that she took, and it really helped her memory. So that's what I'm calling about today.
It is amazing. It's almost a miracle. I mean, my mom, Betty Ruth McFadden Lang, is 98 now, and she's doing amazing. And so she's eating, you know, a lot of the Lang survival diet. Obviously, she gets to have a Nutty Buddy and an ice cream sandwich anytime she wants at 98. But she does eat well. And, you know, I took over her care and my dad's care about 7 years ago. And it was about probably 3 years before that. So 10 years ago at 88, she started developing, you know, dementia, Alzheimer's. And she really literally didn't know where she was. I mean, I always tell the story. She's sitting at the table, breakfast room table in my house on the bay. And there's water on both sides of her house. There's Tampa Bay on one side and a lake on the other. And she literally would think she's on the Love Boat and that Captain Stubing was going to come sit down with her any minute. And so it was, I started her on a supplement I developed called Fortifeye Focus and Brain. And that uses 4 combinations of nutrients that cross the blood-retinal barrier and actually cross the blood-brain barrier and retinal barrier. So it's good for the retina and the brain. It has lutein, zeaxanthin, astaxanthin, and then cognizine, which is a patented trademark form of acetylcholine. And the combination of these 4 nutrients literally has helped mother's memory significantly. Now, I still know she has a little dementia, obviously, but, you know, you sit down with her, and if you didn't know her, you would not have a clue that she has any cognitive deficit at all. I mean, she's amazing. And it took about 3 months of being on the Fortifeye Focus and Brain when I finally realized that her memory was much better than it had been. So it's probably a combination of the good foods I feed her, but the biggest thing was the Fortifeye Focus and Brain. I take it. It's helped my working memory. I don't have that brain fog as much anymore. But the main thing for me, you know, I'm 63 years of age. I don't need reading glasses to see up close. I started with Fortifeye Focus when I was 48 when I developed it. And most people at 40, 45 need reading glasses. And there's studies that indicate the astaxanthin that is in it helps improve the ciliary muscle functioning ability. So it allows you to see better up close. So I do recommend it for everybody that's aging. So that's all of us. And I recommend it for college kids and high school kids because it helps us focus. It helps mental clarity. It helps working memory. So it's called Fortifeye Focus and Brain.
Great, great. All right. So how do I get that? Do I call the order line back or?
Yeah, you can call them or you can just simply go to the website and it has all the science and shows all the research studies on the website. And you can order it straight off the website. And that's fortifeye.com. It's kind of a play on words since we're eye doctors. So Fortifeye, it's Fortifeye, fortifeye.com. And then just look for Focus and Brain. And you can always call the toll-free number. I'll give it to you. It's 866-503-9746. 866-503-9746. And if the answer machine comes on, just hang up and call back. Just wait to get somebody We are busy on the phones. That's why I always recommend going to the internet to order it, and it ships out same day.
Great, great. Thank you so very much. I will place that order today.
All right. And keep us posted, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. Dr. Summerton, we've been, talking about carotenoids with our patients for years, and it's nice to be able to discuss what foods to eat. But quite frankly, most of these patients are not going to eat, gobs of organic kale, organic spinach, orange bell peppers, goji berries, and wild Alaskan salmon. And we always push the foods first. But for the lion's share of our patients out there, having a supplement that's very easy to swallow is very beneficial.
It is. And like we say, you can't out supplement a bad diet. We do need to focus on diet first, but we do know it's extremely hard to get all those in your diet. And just looking at population studies and deficiencies of what most people are associated with, where they're not getting enough, the carotenoids are definitely in there. And just a reminder, we've about the omega-3 essential fatty acid. A lot of people out there have a low omega-3 index, meaning you have a low amount of omega-3 in your red blood cells. And we know that helps the brain function, but more importantly, just by simply having an omega-3 index up above around 8%, which a lot of people are more around 4% when they do the population studies, that is associated just with a longer life expectancy. And the study said you can live 5 years longer just by getting your omega-3 index higher. And that's a pretty simple thing to do to have such an amazing effect on your life. Basically, you're going to reduce your risk of dying from all causes by just increasing the amount of seafood that increases your omega-3, but then supplement it with a high quality absorbable form, the triglyceride form, to help improve that overall health.
Oh, I agree. And that's probably the number one supplement that I recommend to people for their New Year's resolutions. It's the most studied supplement on the market, and that's a good triglyceride form or re-estified triglyceride form omega-3, like Fortifeye Super Omega or Fortifeye Super Omega 3 Max. And we did a study with our Fortifeye Super Omega where we took our patients, and quite a few patients, this is years ago, and did omega index studies. And we found that the average patient at 2 per day, after 2 weeks of Fortifeye Super Omega, their omega index went between 9.2 and 11%. So that's the heart health zone and the anti-inflammatory zone. So we know it does work. And if they were over 240 pounds, they needed to go to the omega-3 max. But most people did very well on the Super Omega-3. So for New Year's resolutions, eat more good quality fish, all right, which is hard to find, or take a good Norwegian-made omega-3 that says TG form or RTG form. Studies indicate reduction in mortality, reduction in strokes, reduction in heart attacks, reduction in atrial fibrillation, faster recovery after working out, less DOMS and less ROMs, improved dry eye symptomology, improved arthritic symptoms. So taking your omega-3 is not a bad idea. All right, phone lines are open. We're getting ready to take a call. If you got a question, give us a call at 877-969-8600. That's 877-969-8600. And for 2026, I recommend staying out of the cold plunge. All of you that are doing cold plunges, new studies show it may hinder muscle growth and strength. So stay away from the cold plunge. And all of you doing long-term fasting, if you want to be bald and skinny, continue to do that. But long-term fasting has been shown you lose a lot of hair and muscle. All right, let's go to the phones. Carolyn in Tampa, good morning.
Oh, good morning.
What can we do for you?
Okay. I have a question about my recent cataract surgery that I'm recovering from.
Right.
Yes. I had the surgery for both eyes, and I had a good outcome with the left eye, but the right eye, not so much. I had been in the process of being treated for macular degeneration in the right eye, and my surgeon thinks that that's the reason I didn't have a good outcome. But what I do have with my right eye is a constant flickering light in my vision, and it happens every second. It's just constant. And if I close my eye, it feels like a fluttering type of feeling. And I was just wondering if you've had experience with that, and
Yeah,
if you
I'll try to address this because we're running
out.
out of time. It's not that uncommon after cataract surgery to get this flickering. Okay. And if you had macular degeneration prior to cataract surgery, that's oftentimes it can get worse after cataract surgery. Now, obviously, going back to your ophthalmologist for follow-up care, looking at the retina to make sure you didn't develop something called cystoid macular edema. That's swelling that you're more prone to get if you have macular degeneration, possibly. Taking a good supplement's probably not a bad idea based on legitimate science. I would recommend something like the Fortifeye Next Gen Macular Defense. And I would take 2 to 3 a day, depending on your weight, but it's called Fortifeye Next Gen Macular Defense. It's not a miracle cure. It's just giving you the nutrients necessary to feed your retina. I'm a little bit biased. I did develop it, so I think it's the best supplement on the market. But you need to continue follow-up with your doctor, okay?
Okay, so the doctor can do something about it?
Well, I never say they can't do anything. I've never said that yet. So I would get back to the doctor and discuss it with the doctor. But Carolyn, we're going to have to go. I'm going to wish you a happy new year because we're just about out of time. Well, Dr. Summerton, we didn't have time to cover half of the stuff we were going to talk about, but at least we answered some questions. You got about 10 seconds to tell everybody happy new year and bye-bye.
Wishing everybody a happy and healthy new year. And we'll be here at the same time next week so they can save those calls for then too.
And remember, the vegan protein is on BOGO right now. That means you buy one, you get one free. Use the code VEGANBOGO at checkout. Vegan BOGO for the vegan super protein. Buy one, get one free. I want to thanks for everybody for tuning in and listening to Ask the Doctor. I'm out of here.